Hello, everyone and no one. I am Rotten Corpse, and I kind of want to just bring this up because I'm slightly inebriated and I've been trying to find something to kind of play in the background besides a TV show I already own. And I watched a recent video from the Military Arms channel, and Mac brought up why he is ditching the 5.56. And after listening to his reasonings and going through and reading some of the comments of people saying, oh, it's a circular thing, obviously, it's just changing with times, and kind of sitting here and thinking about it, because he brought up of what he would look at if the, quote unquote, shit hits the fan, and not using 5.56 to take game because, well, it's not going to be the best if you're hunting in the, well, I'll be kind of a dick and say, the traditional method. Now, in that scenario, the traditional method, you're going to look at something of trying to puncture typically the heart and both lungs. But if we're talking about a shit hit the fan scenario, you're not necessarily thinking of, well, taking a deer or any game in the most humane way possible. So if you're able, there's a high plausibility you may try to take a headshot. Because if you can take out the head, you obviously take out the body. Like it usually is. From everything I'm aware of. I haven't done this via hunting, but it is something that is typically done in a lot of things. My father recently did it to a woodchuck. Granted, it was with a pellet gun and he had to hit it like 3 times. But it happens. I'm having fun with this. Leave me alone. And it just kind of brought up one of those things. In all reality, your shit hit the fan rifle should be based upon where you live. And he did make one really great point, which was so many people brought up the whole fact of a self-defense gun for shit hits the fan scenarios. Now, granted, I will say a 5.56 typically AR platform, is probably going to be one of the better things considering the fact it's not going to go through near as many walls, especially comparatively to like a 12 gauge shotgun or even a 9mm carbine, because it takes takes a bullet of less weight. I will say, if I hadn't already, I am slightly inebriated. I don't care. I'm probably not going to edit shit for this one or do multiple takes. And it is true. It's going to hit drywall and it's going to tumble much more quickly than anything else. But he brought up of how he's going to go with a 308. Because his whole goal in this scenario is to look at, if shit hits the fan, him living more off the land to provide for his family instead of plausibly having to go and ransack others or defend himself from others trying to ransack him, which he still could use the 308 for. Typically, he's just not going to have as much ammo to be able to carry as a 5.56 would. But again, it all depends on how you're going to go through the hunting, how, well, precise in a lot of cases you've had that, or you've put it, and how far you're going to have to shoot in your state or in your local area. If you're in a more wide open area to where you're going to have to take those shots that are like past 100 yards, we're talking 200, 300, 400 yards maybe, yes, a 308 is going to be far better than a 5.56. But honestly, you'd even do better with just a 270 because necessarily you're not looking to have to take multiple follow-up shots. So a bolt action in all reality would still be better than a semi-auto 308. But this is just me looking at these things through a different light, while saying, yes, I'm looking at the shit hitting the fan and not necessarily having to just fight. Also, it's a big thing of looking at where you live. If you live in an area to where you only have to use a brush gun, I like the example of you're going to use a 12 gauge shotgun with buckshot or a slug because you don't have to shoot over about 75 to 100 yards, which you can still put a shotgun slug out to like 300 pretty fucking accurately. And I'm talking like 5-inch grouping if you actually know what you're doing and have figured out the ammo that you're going to use with the slug, or the ammo, so the slug that you're going to be using with whatever shotgun you have that has a rifled barrel. Yes, you can literally do that. A 10 gauge shotgun with a rifled barrel and a slug can accurately put things out to 300 yards. But a rifle still typically can do that easier and cheaper because you can buy match ammo and you don't have to figure out what you're going to be using. But this was just my thought process against Tim, sort of. And really, it was a yes, depending on the scenario, you may have to go with something different. But most people think of a shit hit the fan moment or scenario being, well, something that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have to be hunting, but it may mean you're going to have to be hunting, which is why you would have to judge things based upon where you live, which you should have already been doing. Like, if you live in the city, having a 308 is probably not the best thing. Oh, you can take some longer shots, but in a shit hit the fan scenario, you're going to want something that's going to be pretty effective against humans. You know, those two-legged critters that'll mean you harm. And also something you can carry a good amount of ammo that's also fairly reliable, which means you're going to leave out a lot of the 22 LR because it's a rimfire, not as reliable. Well, I have rambled on for long enough. I haven't decided if I want to put this as a video, but I probably will. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to my inebriated rambling.